All right, good morning. It's Sunday and we are in my garage, quote unquote, greenhouse. You can see I have a couple of the pots that I brought in from the garden. They're doing okay. My ferns like to hang out on this bench over the winter. I did trim them back and I'll trim them back again. But at least this gives you kind of a feel for it. They did just fine over winter last year, put them out, and they'd had a great summer. So we'll do that same practice this year and see if everything goes as planned. Again, I've got maybe a couple months before stuff will really go outside, but this is a good time to kind of look forward to the next year. These here are coleus that I pulled out of the burgundy bed. I just put the cuttings here. I've already trimmed this one back because it was getting a little unruly. But I did this last winter as well. And it worked out great. Then I was able to just pot them out in the garden. So it's a good way to get free plants, or at least to have the same plants the next year. And I love all of the colors here. And over here is some lettuce. Now this will not go into the garden. These I'll just grow inside. I probably overseeded, so I'll need to thin those out soon. One trick, I have this window here, it's south facing, so I don't have to put any grow lights over here. But one thing I do find that I need to do is flip these around with some frequency. And when I watered it, I batted it down, but that's okay. The sunlight will pop them right back up. And I'm gonna have to thin them out a little bit anyway, so maybe we can do that on another day. But you can see I've got my watering can here with me, and I'm just making sure everything is doing okay. I do an inspection down here about every other day. And this is a geranium that's actually been in the garden for a couple of years now. I just put it here in front of the window in the garage, and it comes back really happy in the spring. I'll probably trim it back a little bit. We'll see. I might be able to get a cutting off of it as well, which should really help me make sure that I can propagate it for next year. And I have a couple of amaryllis. These are both from last year. They have not bloomed this year, but I do have some growth on them, so that makes me feel like it's a little bit promising. And of course, here I've got my tags so that I can get those marked. And then my new addition this year, I'm very excited about. My husband bought me grow lights for Christmas. So I've got a few things started here. These are my absolute favorite items to use for starting seeds. These are from Burpee, and I love them. They don't pay me to say that. I got them myself from Amazon. But I love these. They're great because the bottoms are plastic, and when you're ready to plant out, you can just see where I pop that up. And I don't typically find that I have to replant these into bigger pots because they're so big. I'll usually put regular garden soil in the bottom part and then put my seed media soil on top. And I find that that allows me to get through until they're ready to go into the ground or into a pot. I am also starting some vegetables. I have some sweet pea. I just sowed these a couple of days. They're not doing anything yet. And then here I have some Anaheim peppers. So I'm looking forward to starting some vegetables this year. There's some more lettuce here. That was probably a mistake because I've learned since that those don't like to be replanted. So we may just rely on what I already had potted out. Over here, I have some poblano peppers. Nothing there, but again, I only put those in a couple days ago. And then I'm going to try some verbascum. I've never grown them, so we'll see how that goes. And then last but not least, over here, I have my English wildflower, or wallflowers rather. And you can see those are coming in quite nicely. I have some that I started a couple months ago that are on the front porch, and they're doing well with the cold. I have just been pulling them back against the house when it's colder. So these ones I'll be able to put out probably in a few weeks because they can tolerate the cold. Just in an extremely cold day, I'll have to pull them in. Here is my very messy shelf of some of my pots and things. And then I do have my nursery pots that I've held on to so that if I need to pot anything into larger containers until they're ready to go, I have those. I did weed these down quite a bit. I found that I had way too many, so we'll see how I do here. And then last, these are my seeds. I have a gazillion of them, give or take, by 1,000. These ones here are all seeds that I have collected from my flowers last year. A lot of the pink salvia jewel, they're really easy to sow. I'll just throw them in the garden. And then this whole packet here is all zinnia. Some of them I just kept from last year, and then, or some of them I collected this last fall, and there are a few that I purchased as well. But this is how I organize my seeds. It's kind of organized chaos. Top drawer is for my pastel garden. The middle drawer is for the burgundy bed. So you'll see I've got a few things in there. I've got millet. I will sometimes save the tags from seeds I sowed or bulbs I sowed years before, so I kind of have that information in the right drawer. And then my last one here is my tropical bed. I do have some zinnia there, Mexican sunflower, which I absolutely love, and straw flower. I'm really excited to get those going. Quite a few calendula as well. I'm probably saying that incorrectly. And then the last thing I have, and this is one of my favorite pieces of advice. This is a garden calendar, or it's actually just a normal weekly calendar, but I like to keep track of what garden work I'm doing every week so that I can go back next year and I have the same exact calendar from last year, and it'll tell me how I'm doing from one year to the last. Actually, this is last year's, and I have a new one for this year. So hope you enjoyed our little garden garage tour. It's nothing special, but it's what's working for me.